Can we deal with first things first, Darren? Yes, I know that the Chancellor's giving a statement, but there's an urgent question beforehand. Penny Mordaunt's handling that. What's going on?
Yeah, so every day, essentially, the opposition party, or indeed any MP, can call on the government to come and answer an urgent question in Parliament. It is at the discretion of the Speaker whether that is allowed to happen or not. And Lindsay Hoyle today did say that Labour had or should have the opportunity to question the Prime Minister on the sacking of Kwasi Kwarteng, the Chancellor, of course, last Friday. God, that seems like a long time ago, and it was only a couple of days ago. Now, the Prime Minister herself is not turning up. Instead, she's sending Penny Mordaunt, who's Leader of the House of Commons. Two really interesting things. First of all, the very fact that Liz Truss is not turning up. You know what? Many would feel if she's got the fight in her, she should be there at the dispatch box defending what's happened. We haven't really heard from her since that diabolical press conference last Friday. This is a chance. This is a parliamentary democracy. It should be a chance for MPs to probe the Prime Minister. And second of all, interesting that Penny Mordaunt is essentially going out to bat for the Prime Minister. Now, she did write an article in the Sunday Telegraph yesterday calling for unity, calling for the party to get behind Liz Truss, but many people are also speculating that she herself is on manoeuvres, that she still wants the top job. Of course, she finished third in the leadership election in the summer, so it will be really fascinating to see the choice of words that Penny Mordaunt uses to defend the government and indeed the Prime Minister, as you say, in around 15 minutes' time. And then immediately after that, Jeremy Hunt is going to get on his feet and give a lot more detail about those economic U-turns he was spelling out this morning.
Yes, I mean, it does appear as though Liz Truss may have given up, but we'll have to wait and see exactly how that pans out. You alluded to there what's been going on with the Chancellor. He made a statement this morning. We're going to be taking a statement from Jeremy Hunt live here on GBNews Live, probably about half an hour-ish's time, maybe an hour's time. What can we expect from it?
Well, I think in many ways it's going to essentially extrapolate what we heard today, and this is going to be really, really interesting in the sense that what you've had is Liz Truss stand on a policy platform this summer of rolling back taxation, and yet within weeks of announcing those tax cuts, they're all going to go into reverse. Frankly, people, Conservative members, voted for Liz Truss this summer, and they've ended up in some ways with Rishi Sunak, or at least his policies in government, because that's precisely almost what Jeremy Hunt is imposing. Now, I think the really interesting thing, forget about the corporation tax, it's a really big deal. It's a big deal, particularly for some businesses. But I mean, in terms of the politics, forget about the income tax at the lower end being dropped. Again, big deal, particularly for those on lower incomes. But forget about let's talk about the politics. The politics, I think, most interestingly, of what Jeremy Hunt has talked about today is ending the price cap freeze on energy after 6 months. Now, you know what, even throughout all of this, even since the pound slid and the mini budget was criticised and Kwasi Kwarteng resigned, the one thing ministers have held on to, Patrick, is the fact that the big difference between them and Labour is that they would commit themselves to freezing energy prices with a cap on that for 2 years. That's also being chucked out today. So frankly, what has Liz Truss got in the cupboard? What can she say she's doing different than Boris Johnson was doing 6 months ago, or indeed that Rishi Sunak would have done in government? And that's a big problem. A big problem is that lots of people do not like her as a leader, and they also don't think she's now got any policies. And so the big question for them is, what's the point of Liz Truss? And that is why her job, her career, her time at number 10 seems to be fast running out.